Welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, as all sorts of organizations wrestle with framing appropriate AI use policies, individual creatives must develop their own personal AI policies as well and live by them. The Gifted Underachievers discuss their use of AI and the lines they draw that they will not cross. Hey, Pat.
Yes.
I know that you are incredibly uncomfortable talking about Bavarians
Whoa. No,
and pretzels in a way that may be demeaning to Bavarians.
that's the part I'm uncomfortable with. I object to,
I have been trying to push this segment now, nigh on months, weeks.
nigh on at least several dozen weeks. And the problem, so we talked some smack in a joking way about the Gifted Underachiever HR office being in Bavaria and how they're too busy boning pretzels over there to do a good job. I can't remember if that's exactly what we said, but anyway, and then you're like, we laughed our asses off, and then you put it in our potentially, our what do you call it? Our like parachute.
Yeah,
break glass if needed.
Break glass in case of emergency.
And our backup segments where we don't have enough stuff, we'll trot out that one. And I'm like, James, we can never air that. We were being terrible about Bavarian people.
Well, you said racist.
I did say racist.
Yeah, I have I don't see it that I come at it from a completely different perspective.
Okay, well, we'll agree.
We can't do that. So we're not going to do that. And this is not a sneaky way of me trying to get you to revisit our Bavarian segment.
I can't be manipulated in that fashion.
Yes, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So in lieu of that, I have something even more exciting.
Go.
Well, with the advent of AI standing for artificial intelligence, right? There's nothing Bavarian related. With the advent and the growth now of AI, there's lots of businesses, publishers, creative outlets that are coming up with AI policies. And I've seen them recently. One publisher said, this is, if you use AI for this, you've got to put a note in. Do not use AI for this. If you do, we're not going to deal with you. And this is okay if you use AI for this stuff. You don't have to tell anybody. And so we were chatting and thought, you know what, maybe people need to creatives need to have sort of a personal AI policy, because the fact of the matter is you and I have both been experimenting around with AI. I think it's gone past the experimentation phase to where there is some use going on. And it's, that level of automation, if you want to phrase it that way, has been very helpful. Right?
Agreed.
But I think lines need to be drawn.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, in the sand. No, wherever. We need to draw lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are your lines? Do you have lines?
I do. I will never use AI to help me fashion a sentence, paragraph, or any form of writing.
Oh, interesting. Okay, good.
Right?
Yeah.
So there will never be any AI influence on the words that get on the page.
Yeah.
I will not use AI this may be a soft one, to develop story ideas. Not going to do it. Where it has come in handy is, I sometimes, I do a range of different writing as a ghostwriter, and some of it's more creative. So there's no role really that I see for AI in that.
Yeah.
But I also tend to do some very complicated writing, and AI has been very helpful for helping me understand some really complex theories and ideas and concepts and that kind of thing that I can then use to refine my thinking and understanding of a topic, so I can be clearer in my presentation.
Yeah.
More of a research tool.
Right. A research tool. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was something interesting that I heard recently where somebody said Google, due to AI, is transitioning from a search engine to an answer engine.
Yeah.
And I would say that that's kind of what AI can be, is you can ask a question and get an answer.
Yeah.
And I think that how you use that answer and how you ask the question and how you use the answer are probably where the rubber meets the road.
Hmm.
But when I think of it that way, I don't feel like it's the big beast that's going to take over the world.
Yeah. Interesting. It's funny. I've been editing for quite some time actually, since probably before COVID. So maybe as early as 2017, I've been working with a writer on a series of novellas about androids.
Hmm.
And the perspective is that the androids are actually more ethical, more responsible, kinder than the humans in these books.
Mm.
Like it's a really interesting series, so I'll link to that. But the as far as my own personal AI policy goes, well, kind of like airing the Bavarian segment, I was like, I don't think I can ever use AI because it's unethical, basically, in my line of work, to use
Hmm.
AI in any as an editing tool. And then, that was when it, oh God, probably as early as 3 or 4 years ago, there were options like things like Grammarly or these online
Hmm.
sort of um, put your work in and it'll fix your grammar things. I think they're wrong sometimes. They don't have the
Hmm.
nuance that a trained editor has in terms of, well, can I is this rule applicable to this particular paragraph, page, book?
Hmm.
Because a novel is different from other types of writing, and so there's dialogue in it. People
Yeah.
don't speak grammatically, all kinds of things. So I just never thought it would be that useful. And
Hmm.
but then I had the really big problem, probably for the last couple of years, which is, and I still have this problem. So this is one of my lines. I will never put anybody else's creative work into
Yes.
into an artificial intelligence, whether it's a large language learning model or any other form of AI. I just cannot do it. I would have them.
Yeah.
I would be interfering with their copy intellectual property. I'd have to get a copyright release from them. I'd have to tell them I was doing it. I have too many um, ethical issues for that to ever
Hmm.
be an option for me. Regardless of how safe the AI system says it is. I mean, AI
Hmm.
is not accurate. It can think it's safe, but it doesn't actually have all the information. So that's one of my lines in the sand. It's an intellectual property issue. I am never going to put anybody else's creative work in there. They can put their creative work in there if they want to. That's up to them.
Right.
It's not going to be me who does it.
Right.
Um, to the other lines in the sand, maybe this isn't a line. Maybe this is like I don't know, a biome question. Like a dome over the beach. Is it solving a problem? Is what I'm planning to use it for solving a problem? It's
Yeah.
it's like using Google, and which I've used
Yeah.
in previous conferences. Like, what was the top song of 1972? I don't have that in my head. I had to use Google to find out. So
Right.
similar to me. But so that's one of the things is it solving a problem? What is the problem it's solving? Those usually for me in AI use come down to speed or just thinking outside the way I think.
Mm.
So it gives me more of a smorgasbord of thinking. And is there a line in the sand there? Not really. There's no line in the sand. I give consideration to it. The lines in the sand are, aside from never putting anybody else's work in there, and if I'm using it for my own writing, only using it for research and nothing else, never
Hmm.
have it write a sentence for me, none of that stuff,
Yep.
is being informed whether checking if its sources exist, because it brings up stuff without citing it sometimes. So I always ask it to
Right.
cite its sources and link to its sources so I can check if they exist and if they're legit. And sometimes it
Mhm.
can't link to sources, even though it says
Yeah.
it makes an assertion, but it's not linking to anything. So I always check, do its sources exist and ask it for citations. I also ask it how it's using the data it collects from my questions.
Hmm.
And I ask it what data it's collecting.
Okay.
And I don't expect it to tell me the truth because it's AI.
Right.
It's not designed to tell me the truth. It's designed to, retrieve information in a very short period. So, but if there's anything hinky about it, I don't, I haven't done due diligence in what different AI things are useful, like that one Coral. I think I might have used it. I try and make sure it's a closed systems, as in
Right.
it's not pouring anything out into the internet, if I care, right? But if I don't care,
Mhm.
like if it's my own material, say I wanted to summarize the main categories of my blog posts on a writer's roadmap.com.
Mm.
I've already categorized them. I'm just curious, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
Then I'll do it for that because it's my website. I can do that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I would definitely agree. Closed system, Chat GPT, I don't think I would ever use.
No, I don't like
Because
it.
that Chat GPT feels like it wants to be the Google of AI,
Yeah.
right? And so it's thinking about monetization and all
Yeah.
these things. And the other thing that's another sort of red line is I would never assume accuracy.
Never. Always check. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a huge, huge, huge one.
Yeah. And the accuracy part, if it's going to take you longer to check if the stuff AI did is accurate than it would be to just go to a reputable
Mhm.
source. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'll sometimes ask it, and I don't actually use AI very much. I maybe use it once a week
No.
or something for like an hour, if I'm trying to do something new. But if I was going to ask it to do something, I would use a closed system. I would give it the sources. I would say, looking at, the journal of this, the journal of that, and the journal of that. Um,
Hmm.
or even just abstracts from them. Can you tell me, if this has been studied, when it was studied, and what the outcome was? And then you got to check.
Yeah, and I think, you raised kind of an interesting point too, where so for example, if you wanted to search up something, search something medical, right? You
Yeah,
had a medical question, right? Would you go to AI or would you go to the Mayo website? The Mayo
exactly.
website or
Yeah,
another website from a very well established medical institution
yeah,
to get other information.
yeah,
And I think maybe that's it's not Mother AI. It's AI, it's like any other tech. You can architect into it whatever morals,
yeah,
compulsions, those kinds of things.
yeah,
And that's the bottom line.
yeah. I think so. And just to add to that, so let's say I want to look up a medical condition. Mayo website is very good, right? They have their stuff very much SEO'd and
Hmm.
sort of cross-referenced. You can find stuff really quickly. But if I had some very obscure question or I wasn't sure how to phrase it, I would ask AI to use only the Mayo website and return to me the links uh,
Well,
specific to
I
this
would say,
condition.
sources, right? And
Mm.
so then any information that comes to that, it has to be directly linked to a source that you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
then go to, and it says,
yeah.
it reflects what the AI was saying.
Yeah, so I've already talked about how I would do that, but what I'm saying now is that if I wanted to know what the Mayo website specifically said about
Oh
this,
yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
didn't have time to click and scroll through it, I would ask AI to just send me the links to those exact pages that
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that exact
Okay.
terminology on them.
Okay. I
Yeah,
got it. I got
yeah.
it.
So it's not exactly the same as asking it to cite its sources. It's asking
Mhm.
it to find specific pages on a particular source.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's even a use that I hadn't even thought of.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking of it now because we're talking about the Mayo website, but like if I have scrofula, you know, I want to know what the Mayo Clinic says about scrofula. Okay, so that's it. So what we're saying is we all have, or maybe should consider having personal AI policies.
Yep. And we've thrown out a few examples, I think we've chosen the pretty obvious ones.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so.
I think, there's obviously going to be those moments where people, their common sense would say to do two things at the same time that are in conflict with each other. And so you
Mm,
have to try to figure your way through that.
yeah,
Uh, but I think it's important not to be afraid of AI,
yeah,
right? And I think it's important to see that there is some utility to it.
yeah,
Uh, but with it comes the responsibility of setting some real boundaries.
yeah. Yeah. And I think the other thing we should all be aware of is that it takes a tremendous amount of resources
Yeah.
to run these giant plants. And that's not chump change. The climate is completely changed in my little edge of the world because of
Mhm.
human predation or whatever you want to call it, human stupidity. So will my not using whatever AI thing I think can be useful to me that solves a problem for me, will my not using that stop the juggernaut? I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe that's just this sort of learned helplessness humans get when everything
Yeah.
is beyond their
Well,
control.
I approached that, the solutions to these problems exist already.
Hmm.
We're just not using them yet. And
Yeah.
so there's a certain inertia that needs to be overcome. And, maybe it's going to take getting to or past some precipice, which we've already come to and past many precipices. But, the answers are out there. We need to use them. But yes, there is a very real moral issue to the amount of resources that AI uses.
Yeah.
It's
Then
kind of unreal.
just to be clear, environmental resources. And I think it could be a regulatory issue, which won't, in your current government, will not be addressed.
Yeah.
What would be kind of interesting is to ask AI to solve its own problem.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I would imagine somebody's done that, but
I
that's a
would
great.
hope so.
Yeah. All right. So
Okay.
I think that works.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. We'd love to hear how we're doing, so please leave a comment, join our chat page, or send us an email at giftedunderachievers@substack.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere else you like to get your podcasts. We also have questions for listeners to help create discussion and become a bit more informed on the topics we are chatting about. For this one, do you use AI? If so, what for? If not, why not? And what limits do you set on your use of AI? Thank you and have an awesome day.